in our current times where there's a virus going around, a lot of people are talking about medicine. And obviously what goes along with medicine is the various forms of healthcare in which that medicine is administered or received. Okay? Here in the United States, we have an incredibly ineffective healthcare system. It is incredibly expensive. I think we pay more per capita than any other country in the world, and arguably have some of the worst results. You could make the argument that a big part of that is because of the corporatization and capitalistic definition of what healthcare becomes. But you could also say that it's because that the people who are attempting to receive the healthcare are in a state of being where they want others to solve their problems for them, right? Does this sound familiar? Oh, I'm gonna go see the doctor and everything's gonna be okay. Or, the doctor's gonna prescribe me something and everything's gonna be okay, right? Well, I'd like to share my view about some of the terms related to, healthcare and wellness and medicine, and then in future videos build on these concepts to see that, are we really receiving what we're being told we're received, and is there a way to seek an alternative or change that? Okay. If you look up medicine on the internet, it'll say something like the diagnosis and treatment of and prevention of disease. Okay. But is that what really happens? Do you ever go to a doctor and they give you useful information on how to not only not have your disease, but as to why you had it in the first place so you don't get it in the future? I've never had that situation, and I've never even really met anyone that has had that situation. I know there are a couple doctors out there on the fringes that are touching these areas, so I don't want to paint all Western practitioners as corporate shills, but it is worth understanding that, if our understanding of medicine and healthcare is so great, then why are we all sick? Why are we all messed up? Well, let's take a look. My view of medicine has nothing to do with those internet definitions, okay? My view of medicine is an external substance or action that attempts to temporarily repair the spirit and or physical bodies. An example would be mushrooms, like reishi, for example, or like when shiitake mushrooms are grown out of logs in a natural way rather than in bags, that the actual molecular composition of that material is different, and that when you eat it, it will repair the neurons in your brain and repair the various nerve walls around your nerves, okay? So, for example, mushrooms are a medicine to temporarily repair our physical body, right? The central nervous system components of our physical body, okay? How about yoga? Well, yoga would be an external action. Actually, you could call it internal action, but it's self-contained, okay? You're doing something, right? You are, manipulating your physical body in an attempt to, so let's say you're increasing your flexibility, okay? And you are using compression and release to actually help your arteries unclog themselves. When you compress and release the various aspects of your body, you are massaging and manipulating your physical body so that the various garbage that is clogged up inside of us can be broken away piece by piece, and that your immune system can come and dispose of it. Okay? So these are just two examples. You know, really the father the father of so-called Western medicine, Hippocrates, has a famous quote, right? Food be thy medicine. Hippocrates, they call him the father of Western medicine because all these doctors have to take the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. I don't feel that many doctors follow that. They may think they do, but they don't. If the father of medicine talked about food being our medicine, why don't doctors today talk about food being our medicine? Has a doctor ever prescribed you an organic watermelon? Has a doctor ever prescribed you a bushel of organic nectarines? I don't think so. What do you get when you go to a doctor? What do they tell you to take? I call it sorcery, okay? Because it is a man-made external substance or action that suppresses pain. These are not the same things, okay? If you go to a doctor and they prescribe you tablets made by pharmaceutical companies, those tablets have been designed to suppress your pain so you don't feel. Why do you want your pain suppressed? Because you don't want to take responsibility for your own actions. And you don't want to know the truth that every single person here has the ability to heal themselves. What do I mean by healing? Healing. A lot of talk about healing, right? There's a lot of talk about, just open yourself up to receive love and light, okay? Self-care, right? That's not healing. That's medicine, okay? Healing is the release of soul-based error via emotional experience. Our physical body is a condensation of energy from our spirit body, which is a condensation of energy from our soul. Our soul is a container of emotions, our passions, our desires, our memories, our beliefs. All are contained in our soul. Okay. Most of us have the belief that we can't heal ourselves. From the Creator's perspective, that's an error. And if you believe that you can heal yourself, you won't. Okay? We're going to talk more about this in future videos, but here's a quick, just real quick visual about what I'm trying to talk about here, okay? This is the totality of your being, okay? And if you've got a problem in there, you've got a problem everywhere. There is no such thing as compartmentalization. The physical tumor in your body, the physical ailment that you're experiencing, no matter what it is, aging, wrinkles, baldness, whatever, everything, it is related to our soul's emotional state, right? Why would the Creator design us to fall apart? Why would the Creator design her children to be reliant on human authority? She would not. She didn't. She didn't. Okay? There is a law that we'll talk about more called the law of cause and effect. Some like to call it karma. Okay? It makes sense Every effect has a cause, okay? If you have cancer, it is an effect of your soul-based emotional state. And yes, you may be able to go to a sorcerer and be able to receive treatment where that physical material is no longer there, and maybe it no longer threatens your life. And we'll talk more about prolonging life in another video. But just because you remove the tumor does not mean you have corrected the causes and conditions that have led to that tumor forming in your body. And how often is it the case, that like a tumor is removed in one area and then another one pops up in another area? See, even when doctors treat an ailment, like let's say you have liver cancer, they'll treat your liver cancer. And yet, if they so-called don't move quickly enough, it spreads. Why? It's not because your liver is defective. It's not because there's something inherently wrong with just your liver. It's your whole being is in a poisoned state. And it just so happens that the liver is showing you, in this example, your liver is showing you that it is not well. And it is asking you to respond in a kind and loving way. Okay? I'm not saying that if you get cancer, you shouldn't see a doctor or get your tumor removed. I'm saying that we need to be thinking about this stuff here, okay? If your doctor prescribes you a bunch of chemotherapy, which is really poison, or they prescribe you a bunch of radiation, which is poison, how does that make any sense? They're going to kill your poison with another poison. And yet they can't tell you how you got it in the first place. So you're going to put yourself through an even more hellish experience. You're going to drain your entire life savings that maybe you can keep going. And how good your quality of life going to be? We don't really believe we can heal ourselves. And that's why very few people actually try. Like if you think about it, let's say I go into a hospital or a doctor's office, oncologist, and I'm diagnosed with cancer, okay? And he says to me, okay, we're going to start you on a round of chemotherapy, and then we're going to give you some radiation if that fails, okay? And then I say, you know what? I'm not down with that. Peace out, brother. And then I go back and live my life, and I do my emotional work. Yeah. I confront my non-loving belief systems about myself. I confront the non-loving actions I have perpetrated on others. I engage in the repentance and forgiveness process, which we'll talk about in future episodes. And then, as I have overwhelming emotional experiences and I start crying out my grief, my soul's vibration changes. And then that cancer shrinks and shrinks and shrinks until it's gone. And then I go back to that doctor and say, hey, doc, guess what, man? I healed myself. I guarantee you he would say, good for you. See you later, kid. They don't care. They don't want you to heal yourself. Medicine is external. Sorcery, external. Healing is internal. That's the difference. More on this in the future, okay? But sit with this and feel about it, right? Do you have relatives that have died from disease? Maybe they didn't have to. Love and peace, friends.